All right, so we attach the marker and we attach it to the cube. So the first argument in new joint is always the object that would be put onto the second object. So if you ever have any confusion, now one thing people will do when they're creating physics joints is they can't remember, is it object A goes first or object A goes second? Think of it this way. The first argument here after the type of joint, this one will always be rendered on top. Even if you had it below, as soon as you do this mount, as soon as you hook it up with a joint, it's going to push it to the top. You don't have a choice here. Now somebody will do the experiment and prove me wrong, because this stuff changes all the time. It gets better. But it used to be that if the render order was different, it would be adjusted, which always messed me up. So remember this. This object is being mounted to this object. This is the master. This is, in a sense, the slave, the child. So if you're creating a long linkage, and this is object A, then this is object B, and then you want to create a C, then C would be this, B would this be argument, C, D, etc., to create like a chain. If you were creating, we'll see this when we do the arm, because it's got two segments, and the leg has two segments. We're not going to see it today, but you'll see that the order in which I do things is the sort of like the center, the next bit that's attached, then this bit will be here, and the next bit that is attached, and so on and so forth. Because you got to get the order right, otherwise the joints are all goofy.
Okay.
All right, and then this part says, physically in the world, where is the joint? Now, one of the things that people mess up all the time is the positioning of the joint. But you can easily fix this problem by turning on hybrid drawing, running the physics example that you're working on, and then you can see here, you can actually see where the joints are. You can see there's the center of a body, there is a joint here and a joint here, and if I had messed up my joint, so let's just make a mistake. Let's push the joint way over to the left. No, let's push it up so it's really obvious. So minus 100 pixels. I run this. Now I got this weird spike, right? And what this is the joint connection is way up here. So it visually appears like it's here, but this arm is attached to this object way up here. And then if I make it draggable, this is freaky.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like it's all wrong. It's sort of doing the right thing, but it's freaking out on me. Not what I wanted. And so all of this occurred because I positioned it wrong. We just simply put it back, reload it, and we're back in business. Everything is kosher.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a hard one to troubleshoot, because you see the block on the screen and you're like, well, what's going on?
Yeah, when you don't have hybrid drawing mode on, you can't see what all the physics bits are doing. Everything looks good and then it behaves wonky. Turn on hybrid mode and you're going to see what's going on. Okay, so let's talk about sleeping, and then only half an hour passed on the show, but this is crucial. We'll just forget about the dragger code here. We'll have to get to it on the next episode. In a nutshell, the dragger is using a touch joint. I forgot to mention that. A touch joint is a special kind of physics joint that allows me to combine a touch with physics response. It lets me basically drag. See this? See how this thing is moving around?
Mm.
Nice loose the little green dot is my touch, and it's basically saying as the green dot moves around, act on this body here that I just touched.
So your finger does not have to be directly on the item that was touched.
Yeah, it gives me this nice little anchoring, and I can make see how this thing stretches?
Mm-hmm.
I can make the connection between these two stronger or weaker, and what that allows me to do is change when they drag, like how quickly they can drag an object, or how much it pulls on it, how hard it pulls on it. So it can be a weak connection like I've got here, or I can make it really strong, and then it would follow me exactly. Whereas this one's kind of loose and springy. The way I like to do my physics examples, it gives a little more flexibility to this. It makes it feel better.
I like my physics loose and springy.
So let's go ahead and get that out of there, and let me show you the problem. So let's go ahead. Is sleeping allowed? And let's set that. Turn it off. By default, sleeping is allowed. Okay, we're running the example. Now, if I click gravity, it's going to turn on gravity. What would you expect to happen? Charles?
Oh, I'm sorry, what? What was the question?
Okay, so I got this arm. It's connected here. It's all ready to go. It's not moving.
Yeah.
If I turn on gravity, what do you expect to happen?
Expect the arm to, fall, point to the bottom, point to the ground.
All right, let's find out. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Now let's go turn on hybrid mode. Let me show you what's going on here. Pay very close attention.
Okay.
I'm going to reload this. Yeah, you didn't even see it. Didn't even see it. When this comes in, see how it's gray? Now watch again. See that little blip? Maybe hard to see. If it looks kind of brown, that means it's active. But now it's gone gray. What that's telling you is the physics body is sleeping. And because it is sleeping, changing physics, changing gravity, the body's like, I don't care. It doesn't know. It's not being processed. However, as soon as I touch it, it wakes up. You see how it woke up? See how it's turning gray and brown?
Yeah, the color changes, yep.
But as soon as I touch it, I wake it up, and now gravity works. So this gets people into all kinds of problems when they're making their games like, I'm playing with gravity, it's not working, what's going on? All right, well, first of all, let's turn off the hybrid mode. Well, let's leave it on just to see what happens. And let's go back in, and let's say, because all these objects are connected, I'm just going to say that the marker is not allowed to sleep. Just choose any one of the connected objects. They don't all have to be on. Just any one. If they're connected, and you say sleeping is allowed false, in other words, it's not allowed to sleep, now you notice it stays brown all the time. That means it's always awake. Now if I change gravity, it works just as expected.
And just to highlight a point that you just made there, you're saying that if any one of those is allowed to sleep, then it affects everything?
If any one of those is not allowed to sleep, none of the connected bodies is allowed to sleep. So I didn't have to set not allowed to sleep on the arm and the thing, and any of these bodies.
Yeah.
It said you must stay awake all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If it's connected to another body, that body always stays awake with it.
Okay, so it sort of overrides everybody else's.
It's like you got a girls' sleepover, and one girl stays awake, all the girls are going to stay awake.
Okay.
For people with kids, right?
Yeah, sure, right. Yeah. If they're awake, you're awake.
Or boys, and you're going to stay awake. You're all connected.
Right.
Okay, was my I tried my pseudo joke, but I think people will get it.
But that's worth pointing out because it could be you're thinking, well, I didn't apply it to everything, I just applied it to one thing.
Right. So for example, let's not even change any of the joints on the arm at all. Let's make the cube not allowed to sleep. The example.
Which is really the base of everything that's.
I'm a liar. They changed this. Look at this. The base is sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
It's not sleeping. And yet the arm is now sleeping. I'm a liar. It looks like any of the dynamic parts have to be.
But cube is false, right? Is sleeping allowed is false. Wouldn't you turn is sleeping allowed true?
Yeah. So no, it looks like any dynamic body.
Turn it to true.
I wonder if it's because it's static. Let's make it dynamic and see what it does. There we go. Okay. It looks like the body has to be both dynamic and attached to another body. Any dynamic body attached to another body will keep that body awake if it is awake. But the static body is allowed to go. Yeah, that makes sense actually, because static bodies don't process gravity anyways, so they are effectively allowed to go to sleep.
Hit gravity. Hit it. Hit it. Hit gravity.
Oh, okay. So we hit gravity, and now our whole arm falls off the screen. You just wanted that, didn't
I
you?
did. Wah, wah, wah.
So, lesson learned. Sleeping property does not propagate through static bodies.
Okay.
All right, I know I see you. They're like, what?
That's okay. That's okay. I think we get the point. We got
All
some
right.
good
So
info
we
there.
got a lot more code, and we're not going to get to it today. And I encourage people to take a look. It's pretty basic. I think if you just take your time, it'll make sense. Or you could just simply do what I do, which is just go in here to the car sample and you just keep playing with this thing. And just keep messing with it, and turning off gravity, and then turning back on gravity, and doing the wheels, and doing the
Well,
gravity.
see,
some more.
right there, I could see stuff falling from the sky. You have to catch it in the cart, and then if you catch a certain type of material, right, then it dumps your cart over, and you lose all your stuff in it or something. I mean, very simple
I don't
game,
know,
but
I'm having fun just playing with this.
yeah,
This
like
is
yeah.
my new game. It's going to have 4 parts to the platform and a car. Woo!
I don't see why you couldn't publish that right there.
Right there. I'm doing it.
All right, so for next time, we're going to go what? Go through the ragdoll example?
Yeah, so we'll get into the ragdoll example next time.
Okay, well, there you go.
It'll go quicker because we don't have all this. We've covered a lot of the base topics.
Yeah, and we'll jump right into it next time. We'll get right into the code. We won't do any sort of.
No documentation.
We always say that. We won't do all a discussion
We'll
in the
still
beginning.
do our intro and our announcements, but we won't have to say go read the documentation because
Yeah.
we did that this time.
Yeah, right. Okay, all right. So there you go. Links will be in the show notes to all of this. Everything is here, even though we haven't covered all the code yet. Like Ed said, it's all available to you today to play with. And then if you have suggestions or questions that you want us to cover, let us know in the comments. And then we'll see you back here next Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific to talk all about mobile app development using Corona SDK. Until then, have a great week and happy coding.
Tschüss. Auf Wiedersehen.